riding the Kawasaki Versys X300 in Utah. A mini adventure bike, huh? Immediately, I was skeptical. My partner Justin and I had been looking for a fitting two-wheeled world traveler for me ever since I first put tires to dirt. And until recently, I was quite satisfied with my trusty Yamaha XT225. But as I grow as a rider and my sights reach far further than what's in my horizon, I'm in need of something a little more. This year has been flooded with every iteration of entry-level motorbike, from Honda's pair of Rebels to BMW's Baby GS, as well as the reintroduction of Ducati's Monsterino with the air-cooled 797. So, what is it that Kawasaki thinks it has to offer with its new candy lime green, or metallic graphite metal gray, Versys X300? This bike does not fit into existing categories, says Team Green. It has a small displacement street adventure bike that can be outfitted for touring. But at 385.9 pounds, on paper the curb weight doesn't seem so small. Even now, I am intimidated by taking a nearly 400 pounds bike off the pavement. Regardless of the little bike label, the seat height still towers at 32.1 inches, with only an option to increase cushion. This may not sound like much, many would chuckle at such an outrageous statement, but when your inseam is a cool 27 inches it makes a difference. Hell, you don't even need to be short to desire a saddle that offers as much advantage in the leverage department as possible. Whether we want to admit it or not, it's just easier to touch the ground with both your feet. I was apprehensive about accepting the invitation to attend the Versys X launch. Rumor had it there would be dirt, weather, tight mountain highways and long days. This is an adverb bike after all, right? And though the aforementioned descriptors usually elicit joy and excitement in me, handling all of these elements with a bike presumably outside of my reach seemed an embarrassment, if not much worse in the making. To test it properly, I'd actually have to accelerate fast, brake hard, lean, then lean some more, slide, and U-turn over and over, and over. But really, the movement, even on dirt, didn't concern me quite as much as merely the starting and the stopping. I just didn't want to be the undeserving a-hole who took up space at an event when I wasn't even sure I could pick up the bike off its kickstand. But Chris, Ride Apart SY's director, assured me that Kawasaki needed someone like me, and OOB-ish, young enough, petite, determined to really put its pride and joy to the test. Plus, he offered to send me a cookie for each time I dropped the bike. Thanks, Chris. But here's the thing, if you were to only look at the surface, geeking out the stats and specs, comparing and contrasting details about the bike that really don't matter once you've mounted the machine, you might never give a motorcycle like the Versys X300 a chance. And this would be the mistake you'll never know you made. Because where the bike lacks in bark, it makes up for with plenty of bite. Kawasaki took the tried and true engine from its Ninja 300, remapped it and affixed the load as a stressed member to a simple, highly rigid, subless frame. Good engineering, referred to as Kawasaki heat management technology, has redirected much of the engine's emitted heat downward and away from our delicate skin, keeping us in the piston-powered mechanical bits cooler. Overall, Team Green did an incredible job of making a 300cc machine look like a big bore beast. That seat I was worried about, though rock hard, was so slender at the front it gave me the necessary centimeters to manage the back brake while the other lower appendage propped me upright. I've ridden many bikes in a comparable stance, but what really impressed me was the stunningly well-balanced weight distribution. A minor amount of my energy lifted me and bike off the kickstand, ready to ride. Shifting my bottom cheeks to either side of the saddle, I carefully swayed and tipped the Versys X300 side to side, testing the threshold of my ability to handle the bike during slow maneuvers and coming to an elegant halt. One drawback, I found my pant leg had an affinity for catching the foot pegs, which, with a top-heavier vessel, could be led to an abrupt introduction to the ground, but at least you would have earned a cookie cc. These few moments alone with the bike squashed my fears and grew my confidence for the coming expedition. My first impression of the Versys X300, ABS, was first rate, and I hadn't even fired it up. Wide-open interstates connected the more interesting passages, regularly wicking speeds past 75 miles per hour. I often noted we were cruising in unison at 80+ mile per hour. The rubber on the pegs kept buzzing at bay, and the velocity, which would have been obvious on many comparable motorbikes, seemed almost modest. It handled the pace gracefully. Impressive yet again. When we hit the curves, a faith in myself and in the machine grew immeasurably. I swayed and danced and held my place in line with a group of some of the best riders in the industry. In straight lines, increasing or decreasing elevation, the 300 floated over minor obstacles, around bends, and just ate up the hard-packed, rock-embedded sand. Kawasaki doesn't outright say the bike is dual-purpose, which I am guessing is because it wants to cover its butt if someone tries to take the 300 down some single track, but the reality is, even with street tires, the Varies X300 ABS handled much of the easy-to-easy moderate terrain it came across. On or off-road, I could have ridden for hours on the 300. It's so smooth, simple and responsive on the dirt that I could see myself going deep into the unknown and getting very, very lost. The super soft clutch lever felt like trying to grasp a cloud, I mean that in the best way possible. To start, the faint grip felt like a toy, but its purpose soon became apparent when I realized no threat of arm pump would affect my performance. Initially, the throw on the clutch made finding the bite point a slight challenge for some, especially for me. My short fingers would reach their last knuckle before movement took place, and this made finite details, like slow skills clutch control, difficult. However, with a minor adjustment to the lever on day 2, clutch control became seamless. Almost 10 years ago, Kawasaki introduced the world to the first in the Versys series, the Versys 650, earning a great deal of praise in the process. Whether a rider was just learning the craft or had a wide range of experience, the bike seemed obviously designed for him or her. The goal of the Versys series, be it in 1000, 650, or now 300 form, seems to be rider, machine synchronicity, harmony and all the typical functions you'd find on a bike: throttle response, maneuverability, braking, power delivery, and just enough tech to make the bike modern and not enough to make it complicated. If my judgment of the moto were based solely on the rapture it provoked and assertiveness is instilled in me, then the Versys X300 ABS would receive an A++. It makes me feel like a better rider than I am, and subsequently, I became a better rider for it. Is this the next best thing that has happened to adventure riding? Is it truly unique? Will it welcome new enthusiasts and change the way we explore the world? Because opinion is as subjective as the experience itself, I say go for a test ride. Push the limits, break some rules and savor the emotions it sets free. Then decide for yourself.